Let's look at how to set up a new pod. After initial setup of the Omnipod 5 app, a prompt will display to activate a pod. If you're not ready, simply tap Not Now. When you are ready, you can tap Menu and then Pod, or you can tap the pod icon from the home screen. Then you'll follow the on-screen instructions. Confirm that you're using the correct pod. Check the pod tray label and the pod itself to make sure it's an Omnipod 5 pod and that the pod is compatible with your sensor. Before activating a pod, gather the following items: your device running the Omnipod 5 app, an unopened Omnipod 5 pod, alcohol prep swabs, and a vial of room temperature rapid-acting U100 insulin that has been cleared for use with the Omnipod 5 system. Never use a pod that has been damaged or dropped after removal from the package, as this may increase the risk of infection. The next step is to fill a pod. The Omnipod 5 app will provide step-by-step instructions on how to do so. To fill a new pod, begin by opening a new pod. Keep the pod in its tray while filling and activating. Use an alcohol swab to clean the top of the vial of insulin. Assemble the syringe and carefully remove the protective cap. Draw air into the fill syringe equal to the amount of insulin to fill the pod. The pod must be filled with a minimum of 85 units and has a maximum of 200 units. Depress the air into the vial of insulin. With the needle still in the vial, turn the vial upside down. Fill the syringe with the desired amount of insulin. To remove any air bubbles in the syringe, with the needle still in the vial, flick the side of the syringe to make them rise to the top. Carefully push any remaining air bubbles back into the vial. Remove the needle from the vial. Locate the fill port by following the black arrow on the underside of the pod. Keeping the pod in its tray, insert the needle straight down into the fill port. Slowly depress the plunger completely to fill the pod. There are 2 confirmation beeps when the pod is activated. Be sure to completely empty the fill syringe even after hearing the 2 beeps. After you've filled the pod, you have to activate it. With the pod still in its tray, place it next to and touching the phone with the Omnipod 5 app to ensure proper communication. Once you've placed the iPhone next to the pod, tap Next to start communication between the pod and the app. The system will perform a series of safety checks and automatically primes the pod. Listen for the tone to indicate that the pod is paired and ready to be applied. Ideal locations for placement include arm, leg, lower back, buttocks, abdomen. Try to place your pod in direct line of sight to your sensor and avoid placing it on the opposite side of the body from where the sensor is placed. Once selected, you will need to clean the pod infusion site. Make sure the site is completely dry before you apply your pod. Follow the next steps on the screen. Remove pod needle tab and confirm that the cannula is not sticking out. Remove the white paper backing. Make sure the adhesive is clean and intact. Apply the pod to the selected site. Run your fingers around the adhesive to secure it. If the pod was applied to a lean area, gently pinch the skin around the pod. Tap Start to insert the cannula and begin basal delivery. Confirm that the pod is securely attached to the body. After insertion of the cannula, check the pod and infusion site. Look through the viewing window to verify that the light blue cannula is inserted into the skin. Verify that the pink color is in the area indicated on the top of the pod. Tap Yes if the cannula was properly inserted. If you have sensor information already entered into the Omnipod 5 app, you can switch to automated mode by tapping Yes. Otherwise, you'll be able to switch to automated mode later after you enter your sensor information. A pod should be changed every 72 hours or when the pod's insulin reservoir is low or empty. To put on a new pod, the pod you've been using needs to be deactivated first. You can do so from the pod change screen. To navigate to the pod change screen, you can either tap the pod status icon in the top right or you can use the menu. To deactivate your pod, tap Change Pod. Then tap Deactivate Pod. When you deactivate your pod, the system exits automated mode. Remove the deactivated pod slowly to avoid possible skin irritation. Then set up a new pod following the step-by-step instructions in the Omnipod 5 app.